Good morning. Morning, guys. Hell of a move in silver. That pickup in volume, it's not just the memory stocks. I would tell you to make sure that you look across the entire market. And you'll notice that there was a pickup in almost every stock in the market because of options expiration. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was quad witching on last Friday. So the 19th, there wasn't just like, if you look at MU, it wasn't just MU with a silly pickup in volume on Friday, or SNDK or any of the others. Every stock in the market basically had a giant pickup in volume. Yeah, like you're looking at this WDC. Like even if you look at like Apple, right? Same thing. Yeah, just options expiration. FCX. Yeah, I like copper. And we're gapping up some more. Yeah, big base in copper. Yeah, we'll see if we break out. Wriggle. It's a biotech, so the only thing I tell you is just be careful with biotechs. Just make sure you know that they have money. No, on CSIQ, I just bought it right in the open, just over the prior day highs. As soon as it took out prior day highs, I bought it. You know, the thing about a 620 setup is you're already the 620 setup already triggered. You know, when there's no volume in the morning, that's, you know, when you get this gap up, you've already got your 620 setup going on. So it's just a matter of buying it when it takes out, you know, this range. That's all I'm looking to do. Right? You've got your range. As soon as it starts to push out of the range, you buy it, and your stop's at low of day. Oh yeah, FCX's nature is quite choppy, and it's not just FCX; it's all commodities for the most part. Yeah, it's all of commodities for the most part. So that's why I prefer to buy them off of ascending moving averages. No, I don't buy stocks below the 200 SMA. There's only one exception to that rule. If it's one of the 10 best companies in the world and the market is in a big correction. You can do a 1 minute opening range break on like an earnings gap up. I know some people like to do that. You can. Good. Good. You're finally getting some traction. AG on the 16th, PL on the 3rd, CSIQ on the 22nd. Beautiful. And the market will allow you behind that traction to continue to look for positions because you're sitting in a few green names at the moment. All right, QQQ.
Outside that earlier economic data, we are seeing a wide downtick in markets. Pre-market futures.
Yeah, I'm looking at platinum futures. I'm looking at silver futures. I'm looking at all the metals. Silver's kind of the one I want to short, but we'll see. Do I ever place an entry pre-market or after? I do. I do. Not often, but yes. As long as there's enough volume there for me to get situated. That's the first most important thing. I need to be able to get the position that I need. Otherwise, I just leave it alone until market open. AMTM. Specialty Business Services. Amentum. I don't know how to say that. Holdings. Nice. Accelerating earnings and sales. Not sure what they do. Something to do with data centers. Advancing the nuclear resurgence. I think we've looked at this one before. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty interesting. How many times on average do I use a stop loss below low of day? If it's really tight, I will use prior day low. If it's a tight setup, I'll use prior day low. Like a good example of that would be like ATI right here. I didn't buy it for the record, but if I did, right? Like if I had bought this right here on the 10th, I wouldn't have used low of day. I would have used prior low of day. So it happens. Thoughts on Google? I honestly think Google's acting fine. And I prefer this little gap down that we're getting at the moment. Why didn't wait for a 5-minute opening range break? There are times when something's showing far too much momentum that waiting for a 5-minute opening range break gets you a little late to the party. There are times. So sometimes when it's just as long as we're breaking the range and it, you didn't just have CSIQ acting well. You had RUN also going. You had FSLR acting well. Yeah, ANF, it's getting up there. It's getting up there. Hell of a comeback for this ANF, man. Could be. Shame. Yep. Stops at low of day and CSIQ was super tight. QBTS short opportunity. I don't know that this would be the one that I short versus maybe QUBT because I'm already in it. Have I ever heard of VVX? Yes, I have. They're another aerospace and defense stock. My only problem with them, and the reason I don't ever really talk about them, is they're just too thin. And this setup currently is just not, it's not all that great. It's just been a super choppy name its entire history, right? Like where has the stock ever made a clean linear move? It hasn't. So it's thin and it doesn't really move well. Well, solar's even been a 2025 theme. TAN has been one of the better ETFs all year. Especially off that April low. What's my average entry on CSIQ? 26.20s. I bought my CSIQ right in here. See if it sticks. I like Reddit. I kind of like the way Reddit's set up at the moment. Just a little higher low setup. We'll see. It has to take out prior day high for me to be interested. Or, you kind of pull into the 20 and you give a 20 day moving average undercut and rally. BE, nah. There's nothing here on BE for me just yet. What's my trim and trail process? I like to get a 3 to 5 day momentum burst. I trim some off into strength, about a third to half of my position, and then I just trail on the ascending moving averages. Excuse the voice, guys. I'm a little under the weather. Shark Ninja has a big base too. But Shark Ninja's a little extended, Gavin. Shark Ninja is a little extended, right? I want to say Shark Ninja's like 7 times its ATR from the 50 or more. Yeah, 6.3 times its ATR from the 50. Just a little too extended. I think Tesla's acting fine. It looks like a high handle. Tesla literally looks like a nice high handle. There's nothing wrong with Tesla here. Right? Are we all waiting for it to finally go? Yeah. But it looks like a nice high handle. A little bit of emergency. What were the top 3 worst decisions you made for the year? Not rebuying Hood, adding to a loser in IONQ. I had a nice win turn into a loss. It wasn't a big loss, but and then being impatient with CLS, or was it CLS? CLS. Yeah, being impatient with CLS. Just depends how tight. It just depends how tight the stop is and my position sizing. If I size it down, then I could widen out my stop a little. ADI, is that analog or analog devices? Yeah. Just has a history of being super choppy. I mean, not bad. Doesn't look that bad. I'm watching Lemonade, but I kind of talked about this on last night's Watchlist video. I just don't see myself buying this name. It just doesn't look right yet. Something about it. It looks fine. I love the double inside day. Right over 85 probably, could work pretty well, but something about Lemonade. Right? Something about Lemonade. Over 85, interesting, but comp. Yeah, it's not a bad high type flag. COMP is interesting. Yeah, Lemonade's very choppy. Nice job on COMP. Real estate services, though, I don't even know how this group's been acting, but I don't think all that amazing, actually. Let me look. Groups. REIT mortgages. Real estate development. Yeah. Comp. Same group as Redfin, Zillow Group, Open Door, HOUS. Anywhere real estate. This thing's been a beast too. Baidu, very tight. Baidu is incredibly tight. Yeah, when does Baidu get going? Any day now. What sector do I avoid 100%? Probably biotechs for the most part, even though they've been awesome these last few months. Yeah, biotechs. No, I won't be buying HUT today. Mm-mm. My thoughts on HUT today? Leave it alone. Yeah, Tesla looks fine. It just depends. If a stock is going to break its range quickly in the morning, I'll just buy it right away. Yeah, AOI, a little annoying, man. AOI, a little annoying. Tried to get into that name and have just been incapable. Yeah, but how do you differ between the stocks that you wait for an ORB and the ones that have a lot of momentum because you couldn't? Yeah, well, Reddit's just kind of stuck in a range, and just something about the chart doesn't feel complete just yet. So it's starting to look better here on the right-hand side. Nothing, dude. I actually had FSLR first. I just shook myself out. This one hurts a little bit, man. I bought FSLR on the 16th using the 50-day. Really, when I had this push the next day and then the market started to act really weak on Wednesday, I stopped myself out at flat instead of using the 50 simple moving average as my guide. So I actually own this thing from 258. FSLR is the name I wanted to own. I didn't feel as comfortable buying it yesterday, although I just should have. Right? Like I was literally watching this thing when this big stick came in. Oh well. Oh well. Should have bought some through this range. If I were starting trading today, who would be my go-to mentors, or now specifically those suited to the current market conditions? Oof. I mean, I like Gil Morales a ton. Dan Zanger is great. I mean, we've all heard the names. It depends. I would probably say the person who's got the most amount of patience with you. If you're a new trader, right, who is successful that has the most amount of patience while I learn? The reality with like a Mark Minervini is he's an alert service. So he's not really teaching you unless you do his master trader program. Same with Gil Morales. He's not an alert service either, though. He's a little different. No, if I wanted to short Carvana, yesterday would have been the day. Yeah, yesterday would have had to have been the day. But I'm not going to be shorting Carvana here, at least not right at the moment. PGY. No. Let momentum come back into this name. Really nice move up. Obviously a pretty steep pullback, about 50%. Now it just needs to build out here back above the 50. Yeah, Amazon needs to get back above the 50 simple moving average. I talked about this on last night's watch list video. In order to be viable, it needs to get back above the 50 SMA. It depends where if the market is coming off of a big correction, then I try to be even more patient with my position. Right? But most of the times I do try to pay myself into the strength, and then it just allows me to trail the rest of the position. What's my maximum risk percentage versus stop? So my maximum risk on a position is not 1.5% of my portfolio. But my maximum risk percentage on a new trade, sometimes it's like, 3-4%. But 4% on a 10% position is less than 0.5% of loss. So, well, I am looking at something like Amazon possibly reclaiming the 50. I think that would look pretty interesting. I'm watching Tesla to see if it'll continue to form a high handle. I'm watching a CRS. I'm watching Robinhood to see if it'll build a higher low and get back above the 20 and the 50. I'm watching NVIDIA to see if it'll get back above the 50. So there's definitely some names that interest me if they can reclaim their key moving averages. TTMI. A little wide and loose up here. Needs to tighten up. A little wide and loose. I like what it's doing. Just needs to tighten up a little bit more. Oh, EAT. Yeah, each trying to get back above the 200. Yeah, not bad for EAT. Dutch Bros. Dutch Bros is kind of just straight up. Maybe push a little bit more and then digest, build another new little base. Thoughts on TECL? There's really nothing there. So you're looking at a bunch of Argentinian stocks, GGAL, BMA, SUPV.
Comments out by the USTR says U.S. to take tariff action on semiconductors from China.
BMA looks good. BMA's, that banking sector is great too recently. Argentina. You'll notice a lot of these names look very similar. Really, your only focus should be that ARGT ETF. Well, I'd like to see CRS continue to just build sideways here and then eventually take out this top as a flat base breakout. That's it. It's just been in a steady uptrend. So now we just got to finish building sideways here and then just take out these highs as a flat base breakout. That's it. Zim, I noticed they're a potential buyout. Someone's looking to buy all their shares. I don't know that I'm chasing this. So, buyout news isn't something that I typically trade. ONDS. you know, it's earned the right to go sideways for a little bit, but pullbacks against descending moving averages for ONDS. On semiconductor, oh, on looks good. This right-hand side looks very clean, like a nice little high type flag. Maybe like a little inside day, and then it can go. SMTC. Yeah, it's in a nice uptrend. I guess the question is, how do we get involved in this thing? Again, you're finding names that are in uptrends, but they're just a little like, okay, you want to know where this thing was cleaner? Right here. Right here, it just gets a little sloppy. That's the problem. I mean, it's in a nice uptrend, though. Nothing. So I actually prefer a little bit of a gap down. So if stocks are breaking back through key moving averages, then I'll act. Low, is that lows? No, no good. Slow. Look at this range this thing is in. This thing, like, it just trades like shit. Right? Like, you know, we've literally been in the exact same spot since 2022. No, Lowe's doesn't look good. Lowe's looks absolutely horrible, Samuel. If you want to make money, this ain't the way to do it. Trust me. This is you're gonna lose all your fucking hair before you make $1,000 here. Right? I want you got to zoom out. Right? Don't ever just like zoom into a chart and look at like the most right-hand side of it. Look at its history. This thing has never shown you the ability to make a nice clean move in its life. I mean, obviously that's not true. It has made a nice move over time, but let's see if we could even find a nice setup. Like even in here, misery. Like this whole chart on the way up was just miserable. Here you go. Here was a nice setup with momentum. Took long enough. And even this shakeout, when it got back up above the 200 here was a good spot. This was also with a nice little shakeout, was a pretty decent little spot. But otherwise, this little earnings gap up, was this an earnings gap up? I don't know what this was. Otherwise, this thing just looks, recently it's looked miserable. And it just is always traded like this, right? Its history will tell you. Like there are very good spots in this name. Very, very few. Here was another nice one. Otherwise, though, this name has just been a miserable trader. And we're going back to like 2021 on this name. AMD short? I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think I'll short it personally. I feel like there's better names. The BW is a bear flag. It's a short bear flag. It's like not long enough. MSTZ, no. Guys, you've missed the opportunity in MSTR. Trust me, even I have. I've left it alone. The entry on MSTR was October 7th. I was a little early. I shorted against the 200 on the 18th. So your focus list is getting large, but you haven't gotten much traction. You know what that means. Continue to use progressive exposure. What trading strategy would I use in a bearish or choppy environment? Yes, it would be different than my current approach. I would be looking to short against levels of resistance and then long undercut and rallies. So short DTSSs and long UNRs. And then just take the cash flow in the middle, right? If you're in a bear market, that means things are going down. And by the way, I'm totally comfortable with things going down because I do short. KTOS, yeah, it's in the ITA ETF. You know, this ITA, I don't know that it's an old theme, but ITA looks like an absolute beast of a chart. So, you know, if ITA is holding up, then yeah, we'll see. We'll see if CSIQ doesn't give back its move today. You know, it's gapping down quite a bit overnight. So, uranium fuels, energy fuels. No, nothing there. Nothing here so far. It's at least got to reclaim the 50. PTCT. Therapeutics name. It looks good. Can't really complain with how this thing is looking. How would I get involved? Probably a higher low setup. Looks good. Looks good. Yeah, GH, Guardian Health. Yeah, another one that's acting pretty decent. GH, GMED. Not bad. Not bad. FLNC. Yep. Yeah, as a higher low, maybe off the 50. Not bad. Not bad. Thoughts on Upstart? I don't even have to look at that chart to tell you that I know it looks bad. It's below a 200-day. What's good about Upstart? There's like thousands of charts above the 200 simple moving average. What's my model entry for a short? Oh yeah, MSTR. Picture perfect. Right? Rebreak of the 200 SMA. I thought this was really good too. Against the 200, I had like literally no risk, but here was obviously even better than what you got as follow through. Netflix was somewhat similar, right? You got a push into the 200, and then you got a subtle gap below it, and that was my entry right in here, below the 200, and using that as my guide, and then so far, so good. CRML double bottom? No, I'm not trading any of these rare earth stocks. These stocks are total trash. And if they happen to be double bottoms, you know, if you go to like 12 or 13 bucks, I'm probably shorting the hell out of this thing again. Yeah, XLV looks great. XLV looks great. XLF looks great. Yeah, XLV looks good. XLF looks good too. Financials are on fire. It's been a little difficult. The environment since the beginning of December has been tough. It's been a pain in the ass kind of a month. So, unfortunately. But you know, we'll see. We got a few more days to try and right the wrongs, and if it ends up, technically, if we were to close today, it'd be my first red month of the year. So, not a big red month, but a little bit of a pain in the butt it's been. Not for a lack of effort. FSLR, yeah, a little late. Again, I tried buying this thing off the 50-day. Unfortunately, 258. God, that sucks. I was right. Right idea. Shakeout in the market on Wednesday shook me out too. ISRG looks interesting. Yeah, just now, maybe one more little pullback and then we can go. It looks good. Do I mostly short under the 200 SMA? No. I also like to short, vertical moves. Yeah, Roblox was also an earnings gap down too. If you're getting traction, then would you look or are looking to go heavier on your position size? Example, 5%. Yes. So if you're gaining traction, then yes, I look to slowly start to size up my positions. Also, option number two is if you're in a stock that's working really well for you, you can look for an ad on that position and make it bigger. No, NVO, I saw the news, but it's still in a downtrend. NVO is in a downtrend, right? Despite the gap up. So I just leave these things alone. DOCN, yeah, better. You could tell every time the thing comes down into the descending moving averages, it finds support. So a few days ago would have been pretty good around 45. Big stage one base still. Path was also interesting yesterday too. The prior day was super tight, but obviously they're not making this thing easy. We've seen this kind of thing before. You get these big pushes, you get these pullbacks into ascending moving averages, and then you go. We saw it like in AAOI, right? You get this nice push, you get the pullback into the ascending moving averages, and then you go. We saw the same thing in Rocket Lab. You get the really nice push, you get the pullback into the ascending moving averages, and then you go, right? So maybe path plays out similar. I don't know that it will, but right, nice big push, pull back into the ascending moving averages, and then you go. Yeah, NXT 93.5 is kind of the spot that I was personally watching. We'll see. What was the key stage in your journey to becoming indicator independent? I'm focusing on price action now, but I find myself second guessing and checking indicators. Yeah, here's the reality. I only use ascending moving averages, and ascending moving averages, like everything else, are lagging indicators, right? So price action takes place first, and then you'll be like, well, MACD says this, and no, RSI says that, and it's just, dude, it just becomes, look, the only indicator you need, you have to know what technical setups you like to trade. I do like trading around my key moving averages, right? But what stocks are you trading? You want to make sure that you're focused on stocks in leading groups, right? Leading groups, right? So one of the things you guys won't hear me say is, so if I'm looking at like 3-month performance, I'm not focused on staffing employment service stocks or, gambling stocks or confectioners, education and training services. Like all of my attention I've been talking about the metals quite a bit. I've been talking about solar recently, biotech recently, even though I don't really trade them. The metals in particular, retail apparel, right? Focus on the stocks in the upper half of the market, right? You have to focus on the stocks in the upper half of the market. It's very, very important that you do so. And once you'll have like that aha moment where you'll realize and I remember, it happened to me in going into 22, but even recently, right? If you looked at, your JP Morgan in here and you realize holy cow, JP Morgan isn't the only one that looks just like this, right? Right in the middle of May through June, this consolidation was also taking place at the same exact time as a Citigroup, as a Wells Fargo, as a Bank of America. And then you realize quickly, holy cow, these things all look identical for a reason. That's because that's what institutions are buying. Remember, stocks go up, then they go sideways. So first things first, focus on the stocks that are actually going up, and then they'll all set up together. You could even look at the semiconductors. Like when you look at TSM and you realize like, wow, this thing had a really nice consolidation right in here. And then who else had a consolidation at that exact same time? There was multiple stocks within the semi group that were doing the exact same thing. So remember that stocks move together in groups. So instead of like looking at an indicator, make sure that you're looking at stocks within a group and figure out if that group's actually getting money. Excuse the throat. Throat's just killing me. DHIL, this is acting like a buyout. So, but you should make sure. But I'm almost 100% positive this is a buyout. You should know what this price action looks like already. The daily only. You don't have to do that. FinViz already does that for you. DeepView already does that for you. No, you don't have to make a watch list for every group and sector in the market. Literally, FinViz does that for you. Nah, CDE is a laggard in the silver space. Like, how much more does silver have to move in order to get the CDE to start moving? Right? Like, how much more does silver have to go? Like, why is it that this name is still underneath its October peak? Right? When I see price action like this, and then I look at PAAS, how come this thing took out its October peak long ago and we're up another 28% from there? Meanwhile, CDE has to move another 20% just to get back to its October peak. CDE is a laggard in the space. What type of trades do I suggest for somebody with a tiny account? Same kind of, I mean, I don't really think that day trading's better. So I think, what will grow your portfolio the fastest is not taking a drawdown in a crappy market and then focused on stocks and leading groups in a great market. The reality is if you have a tiny account, it's probably because of lack of experience, and that's totally fine. But you need to start to study, right? Why do stocks make the moves that they make? They're in good groups. And so how do I find them? What is the setup that I use? How do I size them? How do I trim them? How do I trail them? You need to answer those questions. COHR. Yeah, a little bit more sideways here. Might be interesting. Doesn't look terrible. COHR was really interesting right down here too. A little flat base right before the break of the 200 SMA. Yeah, that's exactly why I bought CSIQ right at the open. Sometimes if you wait that 5-minute opening range break, then you're buying it a little too extended. Who are the two swing traders that made more money? I don't understand that question. Like Mark Minervini's made a fortune, but I'm sure he's not the one that's made the most, right? Dan Zanger made a fortune in a short amount of time, but he probably didn't make the most. Christian made a lot of money. It depends, right? Like what time frame? I don't even understand the question. Nah, STX for now, just leaving it alone. Yesterday it showed up, odd relative weakness. More sideways. It's a little sloppy here. Thoughts on On? Yeah, On looks pretty good. Yeah, for shorting, I like shorting into supply. Into supply. Yeah, I'm instead of SLV, I'm watching SILJ. Cleveland Cliffs, interesting. Yeah, CLF, interesting. I don't know, it's the best one, but Jumia, unfortunately, it's a little thin, but it's been holding up pretty dang nice. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened here. What is my widest stop right now as a percent of price? My widest stop right now. Nothing. CSIQ, which I just bought yesterday. But that'd be it. All of my other trades are doing fantastic. So CSIQ I bought yesterday. I think really yesterday's low of day is my stop. NEM I own from down here. 91s. Netflix. I'm short from 110s. There's no, or 111s. There's no problems with that one at all. Palantir, I took a third of my position off yesterday into this weakness. My stop will be flat on the rest. QUBT, I already trimmed some off and made some money, so there's really not much left for me to do there. Tesla, there's no way I lose any money here. And ExxonMobil, there's really no way I take a big loss because it's such a slow mover. So, yeah, I don't know. None. VSCO is not a setup yet. If anything, it's a short with how extended from the 50 it is, but I won't really short it because it's not very extended anymore. This sideways for the last few days has stopped it from being extended. When do I move my stop up to entry? Like day 2, right? If I get like a really nice push on day 1 and then a really nice push on day 2, I move my stop to flat. BMNR is a total turd. It's not shortable down here because it's already too far gone, but it's a total turd. I know the short bear keeps talking about it as a potential long, but there's just no momentum there. There's just no momentum. It's absolutely god awful. Yep, stops moved up on Palantir, yeah, to flat. DG, Dollar General, and Dollar Tree. There's nothing to do here, right? Nothing to do. It's not really a short that I would trade, and it's definitely not a long. So anyway, guys, much love. I know tomorrow I will not be on the desk. I will see you guys on Monday. So you guys all have a super safe holiday Christmas break. Hopefully you guys are all safe and get to spend some good quality time with family. And I will see you guys on Monday morning. Hopefully my throat will be feeling a heck of a lot better by Monday. Appreciate you guys as always. And yeah, have a great Merry Christmas. So Thursday, market is closed. Friday, half day. So I will be off the desk. You guys have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you guys again on Monday. Later. Avino, I'll be off the desk, brother. I'll be off the desk tomorrow. We'll see maybe on Friday. But anyway, you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week.